A gigantic crack, known as the East African Rift, is slowly dividing the African continent, the second largest continent in the world. Is it possible for Africa to be completely split in the future, and if so, when will it happen? First, let's consider tectonic plates, the outermost layer of the Earth's surface that can collide and form mountains or move apart, creating large rift valleys. The East African Rift is a network of valleys stretching about 3,500 kilometers from the Red Sea to Mozambique, according to the Geological Society of London, (GSL). Along this massive crack, the Somali Plate is being pulled eastward, separating from the larger and older Nubian Plate of Africa, according to NASA's Earth Observatory. The Nubian Plate is also referred to as the African Plate. Both the Somali and Nubian plates are also moving away from the Arabian Plate to the north. These tectonic plates intersect in Afar, Ethiopia, forming a Y-shaped system of rifts. The East African Rift began forming between the Arabian and East African regions about 35 million years ago, shared Cynthia Ebinger, a geology professor at Tulane University, with Live Science on June 17. This rift has expanded southward over time, reaching northern Kenya about 25 million years ago. The East African Rift consists of two sets of parallel cracks within the Earth's crust. The eastern crack runs through Ethiopia and Kenya, while the western crack forms a curved line from Uganda to Malawi. The eastern branch is arid, while the western branch lies on the edge of the Congo rainforest, according to NASA's Earth Observatory. Ebinger stated that the existence of both the eastern and western cracks, as well as the discovery of offshore earthquake and volcanic areas, indicate that Africa is slowly splitting along some fissures at a rate of about 6.35 mm per year. The East African Rift is likely formed due to the upwelling of heat from the mantle, the hotter, weaker layer beneath the Earth's crust, between Kenya and Ethiopia. This heat causes the upper crust to swell and uplift, leading to the fracturing and splitting of the continental rock. There are several scenarios for what could happen when Africa splits. In one scenario, most of the Somali Plate would separate from the rest of the African continent, creating a new sea between them. The new landmass would include Somalia, Eritrea, Djibouti, and the eastern regions of Ethiopia, Kenya, Tanzania, and Mozambique. Another scenario is that only eastern Tanzania and Mozambique would separate, said Ebinger. Ebinger suggests that if the African continent does split, the rift in Ethiopia and Kenya could separate to form the Somali Plate within the next 1 to 5 million years. However, Africa may not necessarily split. According to Ebinger, the geological forces driving the rift may be too slow to separate the Somali and Nubian plates. An example of a prominent failed rift is the Central Continental Rift, which stretches about 3,000 kilometers across the Intermountain West region of North America. According to GSL, the eastern branch of the East African Rift is a failed rift, while the western branch is still active.